Gran Turismo 7 is the best racing simulator. Before you go to the comments, before it kicks off down there, just hear me out for a little bit. Lend me your ears for a good couple of minutes and I'll explain why I think it is the best racing simulator. And very specifically, I mean the best racing simulator. We all know motorsport, we all know racing. The physics model in Gran Turismo 7 it's okay. It's not the best, it certainly isn't the best, but it's the racing side of things, the simulation of racing, that I really think that Gran Turismo 7 does incredibly well. On screen right now, we've got some Nations Cup racing in the MX-5s at Tsukuba on a dynamic weather track. Now, this is where it just takes it up a level from GT Sport. So we're on a drying track. It's a qualifying session. And this is the first flying lap out of the pits. And you can see we've got good pace in the wet. We're starting to close in the back of these drivers ahead, but it stopped raining. And I know that the dry line will appear. So it's going to be a case of who can set the best lap at the end of the race. We've seen hundreds of F1 races where when it's a drying track in qualifying, your timing is so incredibly important. And I think what Gran Turismo 7 does is it simulates everything just well enough, but in not too much detail. So you've still got a control over the car. It's not too difficult to drive. The molecules of fuel going through the engine aren't simulated. It does enough to be very good at simulating racing. And we're going to go across the line now to, wow, we're going to try and get a drive to the finish line. We're going to put ourselves fourth, but that time's going to start to tumble as the track starts to dry out and the qualifying session is far from over. I knew it was going to all be about who could get across the line last, who could be on the drying track and set the best time possible. Skipping forwards now, towards the end of the qualifying session, I'm going to start my best lap as we go 14th with that one. It's going to drop to 15th, but I've got some clear track. You can see from the weather wetness meter that it's the dry track. There is a little bit of water offline, but this will be the fastest lap of my qualifying session. Someone's going to make a mistake and pull to the side to let us go past. That is fantastic driving from that guy, and we're going to try our best to keep on the dry line and see what we can do in this qualifying session. Other cars have been pushing too hard, maybe clipped a wet part of the track, which has just sent them off. And this is just the feeling of racing, the feeling of motorsport was immense in this Gran Turismo World Series Nations event. It's just fantastic, and I'm so excited for when dynamic weather can come to the daily races. And we're going to go run it to the line in this one, and we've not really got the slipstream from the driver's head now, so it's not an ideal lap, but it should be my best lap of the session. Where is that going to put us in this qualifying? Now, this is a top split lobby, some absolutely fantastically fast drivers in this lobby, and we're going to get a little bit of slipstream assistance from the driver ahead now on the run to the line, which is going to put us into, don't know, 10th position in this lobby, which is satisfying. It really was good to go together, get everything together for that final qualifying session. And now in the race, it is wet. It is very wet indeed. It's still currently raining. Scrolling through the grid now, there we are in P10, and let's go to this one. Now I've gone through a little bit of why I think it's the best racing simulation. I'm really interested to hear what you think in the comments below. If you're enjoying this video so far, hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already. I think Gran Turismo 7 is the most amazing framework to build upon. I know there's a lot of bugs. I know there's some really, really annoying features with their microtransactions, but the framework underneath is set to be fantastic. If someone gets it completely wrong, the track is completely soaked. Look on the wetness meter, it's almost fully wet. Another car is off now. We can barely control our car on the exit of the first corner, and it's a completely different track to the way it felt at the end of qualifying. It is very, very dangerous to drive. You've got to be braking early, you've got to read the track, you've got to look for the puddles. And you can see the driver ahead now is also having trouble, a little bit of swaz from ourselves on the corner exit. The track is completely different. This dynamic weather in Gran Turismo 7 is a massive step up over GT Sport. And we're going to go through this section here, and it looks like someone's lost head now. We almost lose the car ourselves, but another position gained for us. We're going to get into the brake, on the brakes for the hairpin, trying to avoid puddles where possible. and we're going to get a great drive out of this corner here. Really feeling the grip now. I am British, I am from the UK, I know all about wet weather driving, and it's absolutely fantastic to do. We're going to get on the flashes now just to really let him know that we are here. We're not going to send it in this particular corner, but we are going to just give him something to think about. We're going to flow through this corner quite nicely and hopefully get a good exit, which we are on a good exit now. Great, getting on the gas, nice. He's gone wide now. We get alongside this guy into turn one, who's going to be brave enough on the brakes. We make a good move there and get the car stopped, and another position gained for ourselves in this fantastic race. I'm so excited for dynamic weather to come to sport mode in Gran Turismo 7. Let me know what you think below. Have you had any fantastic dynamic weather races? I've had some in single player, but it is single player. It is against the AI, but in this particular instance, this is full online multiplayer with a top split lobby in the Gran Turismo World Series Nations Cup race. And it's just brilliant. The track is starting to dry. The rain has stopped. Looking at the wet meter now, there is a little bit of a dry line appearing. It's not fully dry, but that will happen as the race goes on. But we're looking to race forwards, coming down the back straight now. And we have cleared a couple of drivers already, a little bit of a gap to the drivers behind, and we're going to be looking through into the final corner, and it looks dry-ish there, and as cars flow through onto the main straight to finish lap number 2. Here we are in my Race Asylum livery for my MX-5. Check out the link in the description below for the Race Asylum Discord. Will help you get faster in Gran Turismo 7 with setups, tuning, and lots of driving advice. But look at these cars flowing through the corners now, and we are catching the drivers ahead now. These wet weather changeable conditions are really suiting the way I like to drive, and it's looking good so far. On the brakes now into the hairpin, and we're going to really, on the back of this big train ahead, get on the gas. And we're on the wet part. I almost lost the car there. Very treacherous, just putting a wheel to the outside of the track, and yeah, we got on the wet part there, just going a bit too deep, and we had to give it a full turn of opposite lock to catch that one. Absolutely fantastic stuff now. A little bit of a wake-up call to let me know the track is still pretty dangerous. Offline, the track is much wetter, and yeah, if anyone's done the S10 license test at Spa in the Porsche 917, then you'll know exactly what it's like to be driving the dangerous wet track now. But that was a huge wake-up call for ourselves, and we just need to really get back focused. Looking at the wet meter now, the dry line is pretty much there. It is quite wet in the final corner of the track, but there are portions of the track which are just 100% dry, and we're going to flow through the final corner here to start lap number 4, and someone's going to over rotate on the corner exit, lose the car, and we're up to 5th position now. I've played a lot of sims over the time. Grand Prix Legends, Jeff Cramman's Grand Prix 2, IndyCar 500, NASCAR 2003, iRacing, R-Factor, ACC. I've played them all, and I enjoy them all for very different reasons, but I think GT7 gives you that really great motorsport racing feeling, and it's easily accessible too. You can play it on controller or you can play it on wheel, and it's all fantastic stuff. It really is. So let me know what you think of that in the comments below. Here we are now. We're going to finish lap number 5, start lap number 6 of this 7-lap race, and the track is almost dry. It is dry on the racing line, but there's just a little bit of wet on the outside. Someone's going to look to our inside here, and they're just going to give us a little bump on the corner exit. It's going to be a drag race to this hairpin now. There's no chance I'm giving up this position now. They're going to get it sent back right in this hairpin here. We're going to get on the brakes, roll off it nicely, park the car on the inside, and give them the wet part of the track, and we're going to get out the corner now. That is one defense survived there, and yeah, we're definitely under pressure from the driver behind, but we do want to be racing forwards. We still want to be not defending too hard. It's quite a long way back there, to be fair. Onto the brakes into the final hairpin of the track, and we're going to go a little bit wide on the wet part track. We're going to get spun around. That's a bit annoying. That was a bit of contact there. He did apologise after the race, but it doesn't make up for is a bit of contact, and we get spun around. And this is actually another thing why I like Gran Turismo 7. I like it over GT Sport, because the car contact physics, they're a little bit more a little bit more realistic. GT Sport, you could bump and bang all day long and the cars will be rock solid, but with here, a little bit of contact, it does upset the cars. It's not quite on the same level as iRacing or ACC, where the slightest bit of contact will send you off into a spin. So I like it. There's still a bit of bumping and banging going on, but in GT7 it's a lot more brutal than it is in GT Sport when it comes to car contact physics. We're going to manage to hold on to 10th position and bring it home in 10th, which is still a pretty fantastic result for Nations Cup. But that race got me fired up for more. So we went in the next slot and we are in basically top split lobby. Josete, Key 25, some of the fastest drivers in Gran Turismo 7 are in this lobby. And importantly and interestingly, PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5 playing and match made together, which is fantastic. That's what we want from GT7 Sport mode. We need to get that involved. In the qualifying session, it was 100% dry and they were just pushing to the limits to try and get the best time. Even look at here, Josete's pushing to the limits and also losing some time there. I'm going to go through here nicely. Josete's going to get a bit of oversteer and lose the car, and this is how much we're all pushing, guys. That qualifying time left me in 11th position, and we're going to see what we can do, see if we can race forwards here. Now, this is the exact same settings, it's just a different time slot that we did this race, and the track is dry, completely dry from the get-go, which is another fantastic reason that the dynamic time of day, the dynamic weather is just brilliant. It really is. You don't know what race you're going to get. You can't practice for it because it'll be a dynamic, it'll be a different track temperature, it'll be a different wet or dry. Who knows what it's going to be like. Now I was looking at those clouds above and I really wanted some wet weather because I know I've got pace in the wet. In the dry, I don't think I'm quite there, but in the wet weather, it's where I really started to feel the car come alive for myself. And skipping forwards to lap number 4 into the hairpin, the final hairpin on the track, and we get a feeling that the rain is starting to happen. There's a lot of visual cues you can see, you can hear the rain starting to come down, and the wetness meter also shows a little bit of rain, so I think it's going to be on, guys. We're going to get a wet finish to this race, which is exactly what I need to do to progress from the 11th place now. So we need to exercise a little bit of caution now as the track's going to get wet, and who knows what's going to happen in this race. The rain, however, doesn't really seem to be that heavy. It's not really tipping it down like it was in the previous race, and this bit of the track's pretty dry, so the rain's not really gonna come, which again, another thing, that the whole dynamic time of day, the dynamic weather simulation, it's absolutely fantastic. Just a sprinkle of a shower just to throw a bit of randomness into the race, but the track's dry. We're not going to get any more rain. Is there going to be any more rain forecast for the rest of the race? Who really knows? We've got to drive in a very dynamic race. It's absolutely brilliant. It's just a huge step forward over GT Sport, and I made a video how GT Sport was the best racing simulation and GT7 is now the new king. Let me know what you think of that in the comments below. We're going to bring home in 11th place for this Nations Cup race, and I got a fantastic haul of points there in probably my best Nations Cup race. I can rarely do these. It's very rare that I'm able to get the time to do a Nations Cup race, but let me know what you think of that in the comments below. If you have enjoyed the video, hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already. Also, hit the bell notification to be notified whenever we upload a new video. Thank you very much for watching. On screen right now will be a link to another video which you may find interesting. Go and check that out. I'll also try and put a link on screen to the Race Asylum Discord. Go over there and we can help you get faster in Gran Turismo 7.